Hello everyone. finally, finally getting to do this 6 month sort of review of our journey or my journey as a tenant farmer. Biggest difference since starting is that we've got a little human now. As you can see in the background. I don't know how many times I've tried to do this film, not film, to film this video. Every time I think I've got a chance, he's asleep. He wakes up, feed him, sleeps again. You try and film, wakes up, farming. So yeah, I was a bit silly thinking that when we have a baby, the baby will fit into our life. I said that at a family gathering, and everyone laughed at me. I can see why now. He's definitely got us on his little finger or around his little finger. But whilst he's chilling and relaxed now, he's just fed. I'll rattle through the questions that I ask people uh, to give me so I can talk about the my experiences the last 6 7 months without sort of focusing too much on one thing. I can go from one thing to another. So the first question is, what is the most important thing you have learned? I've learned a lot of things, but I'd say the most important thing I've learned is to always listen to your gut feeling. There's been a few things where I've had a gut feeling about something and I've done it and it's always gone well, and other times when I've ignored my gut feeling, it's gone wrong. So I've learned to listen to my gut feeling. Was there any hidden or surprising costs that you didn't anticipate when you took a tenancy? Oh, um, the cost of fencing kit or fencing equipment. I never knew they'd be that expensive. And then you've got like little things like uh, if things break, you almost always have to have a pot of emergency money. Let's say you got something wrong with the car, or you run out of feed. Like, yeah, I've run out of feed once already, and even at the moment, I have to wait till 5th of January to get the feed made because we make our own feed now. And every time I fill up the feed, I just tap the bin, just hope, fingers crossed, that I can make it to the 5th and I don't have to get to shop and buy extra feed. Do I feel people treat me differently because you're a tenant, because I'm a tenant instead of owning my own? Um, I've not really experienced that. I've experienced people almost feeling having is resentment. I'm not sure whether that's the right word, or jealousy. I've felt that a few times, and that's from fellow farmers, which is a bit weird. You'd think you'd get supported, but I have felt a few times where people have sort of said, "Oh, I see you've got a tenancy now." And like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'd say, "Oh, I can't believe I've got it. It's such a big deal for me." And they're like, "Oh, well, I've been farming 20 years and I've never had a chance like that." And I'm thinking, if opportunities are there and you've gone for it and you haven't got it, or you don't go for whatever reason, why is it that if someone else gets a similar opportunity, you have to bring up the fact that you've been trying for 20 years and you haven't got it? Like, that's your issue. Um, when the opportunity came for me, me and Nikki, we went for it. Every stage we were like, oh, we don't, oh, yeah, do you agree? Yeah, every stage we went through, we didn't think we were going to make it past that stage. So I think for me to have some people almost showing a bit of jealousy, like, oh, well, you've only been farming for 13 years or 12 years, so you're lucky to have got this. I, I don't know. Not to blow my own trumpet, I don't think maybe there's luck involved, I don't know, but I've had to be in that position to be able to put my name in the hat to be picked. So, yeah, for those people that, those few people that show that bit of jealousy, as it were, I see it as motivation, and I'm just like, because for some of those people, they'll be waiting for a failure on our part to justify why we shouldn't have got the opportunity. So, thanks for the motivation, and I can promise you, I'm not gonna fail. So, And now I agree it's true, as you can hear. Worst thing about pigs, the pigs we have, the Tamwards initially getting out, they got out so much. It's because I would say that my fencing wasn't good enough. I was too complacent because the pigs I'd worked with were mostly commercial pigs, mainly indoor, and the outdoor ones I'd worked with, they were fairly docile compared to the Tamworths. And I hadn't even heard of the story of the Tamworth too, which are pigs famously known for escaping, until we got the pigs and Nicky's auntie told us about the Tamworth too. So yeah, the worst thing about the pigs then was their ability to escape every single day. Day 4, they're on a roundabout close by here. There's a day I was driving back from getting the goats up in Northumberland. I was 2.5 hours away. Nikki rings me telling me that the National Rail Response Unit van had just pulled up in the yard because a train driver called up the control unit saying that they've seen some brown pigs on the railway line. They were ours. And they've been to my neighbor's Kelly's place so many times, but fingers crossed now we're around day 150 of them not breaking the fence. I've got a lorry battery on the fence now, and it's kicking out some serious heat, so long may it continue. How have I found landlords with my different approach, which is keeping outdoor pigs? I would say our landlord being Hampshire County Council. I think one of the USPs or unique selling points of us getting this opportunity is that we were looking to farm pigs, whereas I'd say previously it was just sheep, cows, and horses here. So I think pigs, being an animal that's not been farmed here, that helped us get this opportunity, I'd say. And also because the land is so compacted where horses were grazing in it for so long, the pigs, especially Tamwards, they've got such long snouts. They root so deeply, pretty similar to what a subsoiler would do, with less impact in the sense of subsoilers on the back of a tractor, however many ton that is, whereas a pig could be 60-70 kilos, and with the noise that just digs and digs and digs. With time, it should improve the aeration in the soil, probably even attract more microorganisms in the soil as well with their poo. I've seen some of the fields already. The drainage is a little bit better. So yeah, I would say the different approach, i.e. outdoor pigs, gave us that edge over other applicants, I say, because I don't think anyone else applied was going to do pigs, not that I know of anyway. What do you want to say? Okay, all right. He's looking forward to working on the farm. How are you finding farming different animals, as you originally only farmed pigs? Yeah, about that. Sheep. Oh, sheep, honestly. I've got a lot of respect for sheep farmers because I don't know how you do it. We've got now 24, 25 left, and I brought them from a bit of land where they were grazing because we've got a worm problem. I brought them back to one of the big fields to try and do paddock grazing. They were in the paddock for 2 days, they broke out. Put them back the third day, broke out. Fourth day, broke out. And I thought, okay, you're in this big area. I could just, so long as I could make sure you can't get on the road or the railway line or other people's land, do whatever you want, because I'm not getting stressed out over Christmas by some sheep breaking the fence every day. But I need to fix it. Potentially, I'm gonna have to put a third strand because they've been having 2 strands instead of 3, and I think that's probably why they've been breaking out. And also, there is one culprit who's a Texel cross, and if he carries on in the new year, I think we're going to be having some lamb roast very soon of him. But other than that, I'd say I enjoy challenges. I enjoy learning new things. Because I found pigs for so long as they're not out, so long as they're not sick, it's fairly straightforward with pigs. As long as you fed them, they've got water, they've got an area to graze around and straw, and they're dry. Pigs are fairly straightforward. So I've enjoyed learning the different bits about the sheep, learning different bits about the goats as well, which I'm hoping to get more because people seem to love goats. So yeah, I'm hoping to have more goats as well. I definitely have to have stronger fencing for them because they're on another level of escaping compared to pigs. Any plans on swapping the sheep for cows? No, 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 not anytime soon. Because a few reasons. One, I can't be dealing with like TB testing. Two, the infrastructure I'm gonna need to have cattle, especially at the amount of money we put down already to start this. I don't have money for that. Three, I think cows take too long. Well, I don't think, I know cows take too long to get to being table ready. Yeah, they do, don't they? They take too long in comparison to sheep, goats, and pigs. So yeah, I think we'll probably get chickens. Well, we'll definitely get chickens before we get cows. Um, the only way I'd have cows is if I can sort out a something called a temporary land association, which means you can have you can get a piece of your land and link it to a neighbor who has cows, and means that when they move their cows from their land to your land, they don't have to do a TB test. And the plan with that is our neighbor Barry has cows. He's less than a mile away from us. We've got a field which has issues with worms where the sheep were dying. If we bring his cows onto that field, graze them, hopefully that should break the worm cycle, so that when the next time the sheep come back, they won't get affected. Fingers crossed with the worms. And for me, I don't really like using wormers sort of willy nilly. So I'd rather leave it till I don't have any other choice to use a wormer rather than rely on a wormer. So if there's any other way I could mitigate the sheep getting worms, like using other species to break the cycle, then I prefer that instead of just buying wormers. Said about Noah being asleep. We woke up. He wants feeding, so trying to multitask, feeding him whilst doing a bit of this. Uh, so another question here is tips on the application process. That's a tricky one because you could almost do a whole video about tips on an application process, and tips. Some tips might work for some people, some might not work for others. But a few things I'd say that I think could be across board. Always know your business plan or your business idea inside out, because and back it. Because if you have any doubts about your own business plan, why should someone else interviewing you or looking to give you an opportunity to believe it? So yeah, I'd say back yourself to the hill regardless of what you're doing, and always have plan A as close to Z as you can get, because there's always hiccups in life. There's always things that are going to derail you from your main plan. So I remember being asked in an interview for the tenancy, what's your plan B? I said, I've got B, C, D, E, F, G. Which one do you want to know? And they laughed, but I'm being serious, because since getting the tenancy, I said, no matter what I need to do, I'll do to make it work. If it means doing night shifts extra to get a bit extra money to give it a boost to start with, I'll do that. And especially now, having a little one that is a dependent of me, there's no room for failure. So yeah, I'd say the tips: trust or believe in your plan, back it to the hill regardless what it is, and have plan A as close to Z as possible. What would you say becoming a tenant has taught you? It's, I think one thing is I'm more resilient than I thought I was. Resilience and self-motivation. I knew I had both, but I didn't think I had it as much as I've realized. since starting a tenancy. So I guess some people might say finding themselves. I don't know. That's a bit too deep, but yeah, those things that's taught me about myself. Biggest challenge I've faced so far: balancing being a dad and farming. Before Noah was born, and since we moved to the farm, and before Noah was born, everything came after the farm. So whatever plans we were doing, it was farm first, pigs, whatever, then us. But then when Noah was born, initially I struggled with thinking I've got to farm to keep making money to sustain our living or to contribute to our living, but I've also got to be there to be a dad. So that's been my biggest challenge, and it still is my biggest challenge now. But I'm sure I will, as time goes on, I'll get better at it. And as he gets older, he's gonna be on the farm with me as well. So that's gonna improve the amount of time or increase the amount of time I spend with him. How did your application stick out from the rest? I'd say the pigs. I think we're probably the only ones doing pigs. I would say also the fact that I don't know whether the other applicants had the same sort of me saying about plan A to plan G or H or whatever, but my or our thing that it has to work. We went in there saying whatever it is, it has to work. We know X amount and we don't know why. We're ready to learn why and also improve the things we already know. And I think being open to the interviewers with what we know, what we don't know, definitely helped us as well.